I do not like that the black couple didn't make it after all that hoopla.
Yeah.
After all that, I was like, what? No
I'm,
couple. It ain't Keya.
I have opposite
Tyler.
thoughts. I have opposite thoughts. I'm glad they didn't make it. Okay. I want healthy love for us. Okay. Welcome back in, everyone. This is Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today, it's all about Love is Blind, Season 10, Episodes 1 through 6, the first drop. This is going to be our part 1 of our recap for these episodes. I am Victoria. I am one of your hosts, and I'm a psychologist.
I'm Kamaria. I am an attorney and a pop culture writer. And before we get into the episode, make sure you all like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know when we are releasing these episodes, and hype us up and be in the comments. We love to chat with you all. So definitely talk back to us and let us know your thoughts. So in this episode, we are going to cover our overall thoughts on this season and get into our least favorite and most favorite couple, and then really primarily talk about the Tyler, Kevan, Keya situation. And so in part 2, we will be discussing all the other couples. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you watch that second video. And yeah, let's get into it. So first, overall thoughts. Let's chat about that. This is an interesting season, entertaining season thus far.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway I had, I was like, wow, I'm not like bored. You know, I don't know if it's because they focused on more couples. I don't know. Like, we usually have triangles and squares. I don't know what it was about this group of people that I was like, okay, and what's happening next? And what's happening next? And what's happening next? I think also, too, just seeing more Black people through the experience probably also had something to do with piquing my interest and keeping me engaged, because I wanted to know, of course, what was going to happen with them. But yeah, overall, I felt like these were a good batch of pod episodes.
Yeah, no, I thought that as well. I was like, I felt like they just were cutting out the fluff, you know, even some of the Black women that I didn't get to see, that like Dynasty or whatever. But I'm like, if they ain't got no matches, I might say like, this was nicer to just cut to the people that had matches, that were involved in the storyline that we were going to see. And so I think that's what it is. They didn't dilly-dally. They just was like, boom, boom, boom. They matching. And you could just see who had good chemistry. Do I like them? Do I don't? You know, what is the vibe? So I like that. I was entertained, definitely. Yeah. I will say overall, the one thing that's an overall thing as well is that I do not like that the Black couple didn't make it after all that hoopla.
Yeah.
After all that, I was like, what? No couple. It ain't Keya.
I have opposite thoughts. I have opposite thoughts. I'm glad they didn't make it. Okay. I want healthy love for us. Okay. So I'm glad they didn't make it. I wish there was better pickings and better selection for the ladies. But
true.
I mean,
true.
Yeah,
true. Okay.
That's the main thing with that. And I also want to say too, I thought all of the reveals were very sweet, except for Devin's and Brittany's. I feel like theirs were the only ones, which we got a lot to say about them. Okay.
Yeah.
But I felt like theirs were the only ones I was kind of like, not really feeling it, but everybody else was like so into each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, did the producers tell them to come out? Make sure the first thing you do is kiss, because usually that's not what's happening. Usually there's some stumbling going on. It's some nervous energy, but it wasn't none of that happening. I said, oh, the producer said, hype us up. Hype it up. I feel like that was a producer thing all the way. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah. No. Very real. Okay, so we're going to list the couples out, and then we're going to tell you who our least favorite is and who our most favorite is. So the couples were Victor and Christine, Jordan and Amber, Alex and Ashley, Connor and Bree, Chris and Jess, Devo and Brittany, and Mike and Emma. Favorite couple, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so this is after the preview for the next drop of episodes. But my favorite couple so far is Jessica and Chris. I feel like out of all of them, they seem like the ones that are going to make it. For ranking this, I do feel like Victor and Christine, they don't get a fair shot at favorite or least favorite because we didn't get to see them actually interact. So it's hard to even kind of consider them in this. And I will say it was Jordan and Amber until I saw that preview. That preview was given. There is some emotional challenges that he has that's peeking out. So I was kind of like, what's coming? What's coming?
Did I see the preview? Because Jordan and Amber are my pick for favorite, mainly because I was like, they regular cut from the same cloth.
Yes.
Like they about to go, barbecue in the backyard together. They're going to
Literally
be, woo town. Like they gonna be having fun at the fair. Like they just regular folks, and they seem cut from the same cloth, like I said. So I was very, very like they're probably going to match the longest, but it was tough finding a favorite. I am gonna say, because there's some boring couples, and especially when you take out the Tyler, Keya, Kevan triangle, some of these couples are a little boring. So the pie episodes might have been spicy, but I wonder what our next drop is going to be. But for the fact that I've heard that not all of these people get married, I'm not going to do, a spoiler and say how many I've heard get married just yet. But I've heard that not all of them get married. So there's some falling out that I guess is going to be drama to watch.
I mean, and they never all get married. So that's not even,
true,
you know what I'm saying?
True. True. Okay. Who's your least favorite?
Devontae and Brittany.
Same, girl.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna call that man Devontae. He ain't getting no Devo out of me, baby. Your name is Devontae. Okay.
Yeah, because it's giving that he's running a little bit away from some of his culture. I don't know. I don't even know who he's mixed with. I don't know if it's Hispanic or if it's Black or whatever. But the fact that he said, I have not dated a woman of color, that's not what I go for. And, we'll see how this goes. It's like, this girl is a baddie. Like, she is a baddie.
To the T.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not understanding how we have anything other than like, oh my God, like he needed to be doing this when he saw her. He ain't doing that enough for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is the, oh my God, where is the, oh, you're so beautiful? So I do not like this couple. And it does seem like they're going to, or at least on her side, she's going to try to make it work. And he seems like he's trying to make it work too. But I'm like, sometimes you just gotta cut a thing, you might just need to cut it. Like, I don't know. It just seemed like it's gonna be an uphill battle for them. Yeah, and neither of them seemed like they were attracted. Yeah.
And I know we are supposed to also talk about like if we had any surprises from these first drop of episodes. And that was the thing that surprised me. I'm like, baby, your name is Devontae and you never dated a woman of color. As soon as he said it, I said, oh, babe, Devo. I adjusted my notes. It ain't Devo no more, babes. I'm going to give you your culture back. So that was the biggest surprise for me. And then also the Steven Emma stuff. That was a lot. Like,
especially knowing what we know. Yeah.
Right.
And I think if we hadn't known what we know, I would have probably just looked at him like he's looking a little ick, but I wouldn't have been so like, oh, okay. So this is like you said on Instagram, this is the pipeline, or this is like the behaviors are falling in line with someone who could do this. Now, all the things that have happened, allegedly, he's filed a lawsuit against this girl who's claiming, if you don't know, that there's someone who came on social media and indicated that there was an SA committed against her by Steven. That was allegedly. And that has led to just this lawsuit. He allegedly sent a cease and desist letter, and then there was not a cease and a desist, and she shared that information. That's how we all know about it. Yeah. And then he's apparently filed a lawsuit. So hopefully she gets lawyered up, because it's like these things are kind of sucky, especially for women, because it's hard to prove, and sometimes these men do not think that they have done anything wrong. I've seen it, and they have actually, by the book, done exactly what are the elements of an SA or a grape, right? And they just don't picture it because it's like maybe it's not violent, or it's not something that's like they were in the bushes looking for her and it was a date, but it's like there's much more education needed on consent and things. But anywho, I was also surprised that Dynasty didn't get shown as much, because I was like, oh, she was our first baddie of the season, I thought, and she was talking in the Netflix preview a lot, and so I thought maybe they would feature her, but maybe that's why they featured her in the Netflix preview, because she wasn't going to be on the show that much. So yeah, those were some of the things that surprised me.
Alrighty, so let's start off with the whole Tyler, Keya, Kevan saga. We know his name is Kevan now. If you watched our preseason deep dive on the men and the women, you know, we was like, is it Kevan? Is it Kevan? What is it, man? But it's
Kevan.
Kevan.
Yeah.
Right. It is Kevan. Now, overall, let me just say, I do not think that Tyler was completely in the wrong in this situation. It did not take me until episode 3 for me to say, okay, there is some regulation things going on where I'm not sure if the situation is calling for this type of reaction. I believe it was in episode 3 where she was like, redo, and you know, all of that was happening. I do also think the intensity of her statements in the women's quarters was too much, because every single season, notoriously, we have seen the women and the men say we are intentionally not speaking about or stating names, you know, because we don't want to interrupt anybody else's process in here. And so it felt like Tyler was definitely trying to say, this is mine. X marks the spot. Ain't nobody else claiming this territory, baby. You dating Kevan, you dating Kevan, you dating Kevan. Everybody ain't getting Kevan. So, so everybody needs to know when it comes to Kevan, it's Tyler and Tyler only, babes. And I think that definitely impacted the experience that she had.
Yeah, and I also think it created it put her in a space of having these feelings for him prematurely. She was proceeding before, like, she was moving ahead of where the relationship actually was, you know? And I've come to learn, because all of us go through it as women. You learn at some point, either you learn from your mother's telling you or you learn from experience. But these men they are not yours until they make the commitment. You get what I'm saying? They have to make that commitment. You may feel in your chest, I love him, I think he's blah, 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 blah. Until he has committed, until he has made those steps and moved forward on his own, not because you pressured him, but on his own, he's not yours. And so all of the claiming of him in the women's quarters, that was, like, to me, step one, where it's not that she's wrong, it's just she's not operating in a way that's ideal for her own well-being. Like, it's not like she's setting herself up, because she's like, what is that Looney Tunes cartoon that's running fast, the coyote or whatever, and the road runner, like, she's going ahead, and the cliff is back here, but she's running, and it's like, if he were to catch up with her, then it could be like, oh, the ground caught you, you know what I mean? But he didn't. And so she fell down. And so I don't think she was wrong in anything she did. It's more about, is this optimal functioning for you and your well-being? And so her claiming him before he has committed, it's like he has to make that, I feel like, make that statement. And then secondly, like you spoke about, the emotional regulation really touched me, because I felt like it's not that serious. That's what I felt. I don't know, but, like, I just felt like it's not that serious. I'm like, if he hasn't wronged you, he's just indecisive. And that to me felt like information rather than a crime. It wasn't like he was two-timing both y'all. He was trying to be honest. He was trying to share, but the information just was uncomfortable for her. And so she reacted in a way that took her, like, it kind of, I call it spiraling. I don't know, but it kind of took her to some place that I didn't feel like she needed to exert her energy to do, when this is just information. If you don't like it, regulate how that uncomfortable feeling is making you feel. Like, regulate your response, I guess. Like, you know the therapy words, I don't know. But regulate your response, as opposed to, oh, you made me uncomfortable with the information that you shared, and so now I'm going to just go off. Because I don't think he did her wrong. I think he's just an indecisive man. And that was information for her to recalculate and recalibrate, as opposed to taking it personally. It almost became like it's about her worth. And that's why I wonder, is there some other triggers? Because she was like, I'm tired of men, I'm tired of this. Like, in the past, that it inflamed, you know what I mean? Those old wounds for her. Because I'm like, I just felt like it was a lot of energy for 6 days.
It definitely was a trigger. I think what was top of mind for me is Netflix has notoriously edited Black women to appear terribly in these scenarios, right? And the number one thing that I went back to when she initially had her first reaction, when she was like, when she left, slammed the door or whatever, was he literally told her, I don't know if it was the day before, that morning date or evening date, whatever, but he literally told her, I do not have strong feelings for anyone else. And I think she held on to that. And I think when you hear that in this type of situation, although it is accelerated, and and Kevan, he most definitely jumped the gun in saying that, right? He was feeling the moment, which is an issue in this type of experience because the emotions are coming at you so rapidly, you just kind of react. And I don't think he realized the weight of that statement in this experience, right? And so when you hear that, just historically watching Love is Blind, you think, oh, that means I'm number one. That means like soon this other connection that you're having, it can't catch up. When you say strong feelings in this type of context, I think it implies, I think, a lot. And so I think her reaction was coming from that. If he had not said that, I don't know if she would have reacted the same way. And then there are reports going around that apparently he said that he wasn't even ready for marriage. He was looking more so for a girlfriend. So it's like he was never in the right space to begin with. So how do you communicate effectively? I don't know if that's the case.
Because this I'm gonna say, yeah, I get what you're saying. Let me let you finish. Go ahead, girl.
You're right. I don't know if it's 100% true. That's what I'm saying. There's reports of it, but what I am saying is, if that were the case, and I feel like he was carrying himself as somebody who was not prepared for marriage. Me personally, I don't think that that's a confident man. Personally,
I agree.
And so I feel like everything that Tyler was feeling was rooted in his lack of decision making and his lack of confidence to give her some clarity in some ways. And then they conversations with, I'm always talking about these choppy ass conversations. I don't like the choppy conversations, especially when it comes to the Black women, because now they're painting us a picture and it's like she going from 0 to 100. What was in the middle? I need to know what was in the middle.
Yeah, because I will agree with you on that part about the chop and screws conversations, because there was something that was cut out, and especially at the end, the last conversation where she walked out, there was something cut out, and I'm unclear what it is. Now, what I've seen reports is that she indicated that he said something like you said, like that he wasn't ready for marriage, and I questioned Tyler's memory now. She may be right. I need to see both of them, because when she sat down there with the producers and she was like, he said he had a stronger connection, and the producer was like, he said he had a stronger connection, and she was like, well, yeah. I mean, she has. I can tell from her the way she's operating. It's like she sees red when things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like it gets up there. And so I'm not clear whether he said that, okay, I'm not ready for marriage. Because it's like, why are you on the show? You're here to get married. Or if he said something like, when they were at this girlfriend boyfriend stage, if she said something like, okay, next thing is the knee, get on the knee or whatever, and then he says, I'm not ready for marriage just yet, and he's meaning like today, like today, where we are today, a boyfriend girlfriend, and she says like, what do you mean you're not ready for marriage? You know what I'm saying? I can see it. I can see it. I can see that. So I gotta see both of them, what they said. I need both sides on this one. Because Tyler, I already saw her say that little, he said he's stronger, and the producer said, had to call her on that. Yeah. So that's all on that piece. But yeah, I absolutely do think that Kevan, I'm gonna speak on him in a second. I just want to speak on the Tyler stuff first. But Kevan got some stuff with him. But the one thing about his words in the beginning about he doesn't feel as strongly about anyone else. Again, these are just words. And that's what, like, going back to the lesson we either learn ourselves or we listen to our moms when they say it. It's not about his words. He's got to commit. He's got to do the action. And so him not being like, okay, I only want to be exclusive with you, or I want to get married or whatever. Him not moving in that direction means that you are that coyote that is running ahead of the cliff. Even if he's saying, I feel strongly about you, it's still actions over words. And so I don't think that, like I said, I don't think she did anything wrong. I don't think she deserves any kind of flack or being dragged or anything like that. I give her grace because we all been there. If you have not been there, baby, you ain't lived. Okay? You ain't lived. Or either you just been a lucky one that had a little high school sweetheart that just stayed with you forever. But I think that for her own peace of mind, the approach that Keya took could have been her approach. Because first of all, Kevin, why you keep coming in here doing your decision making? Like, do that in the men's quarters. In here, we're vibing. You're getting information. We need to be experiencing each other so you can have more information to go back into the men's quarter and make your decision. But whatever decision you make, it's gonna be the right decision, or it's gonna be the wrong decision, like a Zach and Bliss, that plays out in however it needs to play out. But I feel like what she's afraid of doesn't exist. It's like either he's right for you and he's gonna recognize it and pick you, or he's not, and let the universe handle that. Like,
I think just on the fear piece, I think she does appear like somebody who's like afraid of either rejection or possibly abandonment. So she jumps the gun. It's like, I'm going to leave before you do it to me, because the producer said, well, what do you usually do? And she was like, I always leave. And so I think this is an easier way for her to deal with the tough emotions. And I don't think she deserves some of the harsh words she has been receiving online that I've seen. I do think maybe that this type of experience wasn't necessarily for her because of how quickly it moves, and it's a lot of uncertainty. And if her main thing is certainty, it's like it can be going. We've seen it go so well, and then you get to the altar and people are saying no. And so this is a very anxiety provoking type of situation to go about choosing a partner. It's because you are tasked with having to learn a lot in a very short period of time. You have to be able to check sometimes those catastrophic thoughts that come up when you don't know, when your partner does this, what does it mean in relation to you, right? This is an easy way to internalize your partner's behaviors as something when it doesn't mean something. And so if you can't check that and you're afraid of being abandoned or you're afraid of rejection, it makes this a very, very tough situation. And so I do think maybe with what it seems like Tyler is struggling with in this situation, that maybe Love is Blind isn't the right way. Because I love Tyler. When I watched the first episode, I think it was the first or the second, I was like, I'm sticking beside you, sis. Like, get behind me, Tyler. Like, I love her personality. I love her fire. I love all of it. I love the fact that she is authentic. I love when she was talking about, being a Black woman in her position. All of that. She was like, I'm not code switching. I'm me. And it's like, yes, 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 yes. Like, I loved all of that. So I was here for Tyler. Still am here for Tyler.
Yeah. And I agree with that. Like I said, all of it is about, we all been through it. You know what I'm saying? It's just about what is ideal for her, because I don't know if she would have liked Kevan, and we'll go to him next, but I don't know if she would have liked him or not. But if she would have liked him, right? If the only issue was him lacking clarity and choosing her back or whatever, I do think that the emotions kind of prematurely cut what could have been going in a direction for her. And so here, anyway, but let's get into Kevan.
Well, actually, speaking of that, because I completely forgot that she was willing to give up her career for this marriage, and I know that's a tough situation. I don't know how I would. That. I was like, since you were. Okay. I know that if you are a director, right, the likelihood that you can get another director position, very likely, right? So I don't think she would have necessarily been giving up her career, but I was kind of like, hold on, girl, like let's wait. Let's not make these real big plans off of somebody we're just getting to know. For this has now been like your life's work, getting to this director position, as you said, at your age, being completely you, your authentic self. So I wasn't a fan. I said, no, babes, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that.
I mean, the only thing I did agree with, like, if she's making that decision, because it seemed like she's saying that it just doesn't matter that much to me. Like me, I'm a lawyer, but baby, if I marry someone who is like, got the coin, I'm not going to be a lawyer no more. Okay.
That wasn't the situation though. that wasn't the situation.
Facts. Not what
one bedroom apartment and Honda Accord, I believe. I might be wrong on the car, but it's not giving director money. Okay.
No, that's facts. That's facts. But anywho, let's get into Kevan a little bit, because as you said, his indecisiveness, it didn't register in the beginning. But as we went on and on and on, I was like, I think, and I don't mean this as an offensively or anything like that. I do think he's one of those men who kind of rests in, like, I think both men and women have masculine and feminine energy, right? I think he rests in his feminine energy just a little bit more. Like, he's a little more indecisive. I think it's that being raised by his mom. Did he say that the male presence was in the home? I think it's what contributes to his good things. Like, he didn't want to hurt anybody. He seemed like he had like a good heart. He seemed like he was genuine, trying to be honest. That's what landed him in the stuff in the first place, is just like sharing. And those are, I think, all things he's probably learned from being in this feminine essence, right? But I think that he could take a little, if he chooses to, or if he decides to, if he wants to, take a little bit more effort to balance out that masculine side or mature in that way a little bit, because I feel like even him opening up to Keya more was because she was being very passive with him and giving him a soft place to land. Like, it's okay. You can take your time. And he's in that receiving energy, as opposed to that, no, I'm making decisions. I'm moving. I'm hunting, And I think that felt good to him. That felt like pacifying to him.
Yeah, which yeah, Keya, she's very strong in her femininity, and so you would want that type of energy to pull from a man is his masculine energy, and instead for Kevan, like you said, it pacified him, and so I looked at Kevan like he's wrong for both of these women, because Tyler will probably dog walk him and Keya will be his therapist. It was like this. They both need a stronger masculine energy around them. One for Tyler to kind of like, hey girl, like, let's relax, like settle down. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be a director around me. I don't need you to lay the land out, be the project manager, tell me what to do, make this. I don't need you to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? And Keya, it was like, she constantly affirmed him, constantly was like, you're the greatest, you're the best, and take your time. I love when she did that alley-oop with the watch and was like, and you let that watch to remind you.
I ain't got time. I ain't got time.
I was like, not her playing.
Yeah, no, that was real. He needs to grow, and that's the thing. It's like sometimes
to grow. Yeah. When he was talking about the mom stuff, I was like, okay, like there's something here. He's a very nice guy, but something about this is not giving, I got you. And I personally do not like a man who can't make a plan, who can't make a decision. And so I immediately was like, he lacks a lot of confidence.
I mean, it felt like he didn't have standards for what he wanted in a wife, And so these two very different women were just like, oh, I like this, I like that, and he just is unable to choose because he's not clear necessarily on what it is that I'm looking for in a woman, what it is that I need, what do I know myself enough, I've been through enough that I know that this type of woman is what I need. And so they're both lovely, and he just was both being like, oh, they're both lovely. I don't, it felt like he didn't have his standards. And so when you don't, my dad used to always be like, if you don't have it's an African proverb, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And that's what it gave for this. It's like, he don't have a direction. He don't have a, like, this is how I envision my life with my wife. And it's like, you're in alignment with that, or you're not, he's just like, all these roads look lovely because I don't know where I'm going. So I will walk down all of them, or any of them. I will be fine, because he doesn't have standards per se, it felt like, for what his wife would be like. But
yeah, I agree.
But let's get into Keya just a little bit. I had some thoughts on her. Did you?
Yeah, I was a little bit, and this is where, again, the edit comes into play. I started questioning the edit for real when she came back with the gift and it was showing Tyler's like reaction. I don't think Tyler was actually in the room when Keya did that, because from the edit that we've seen, Keya has not spoken about Kevan in a very out loud way in the pods. It was Tyler doing that, no matter who was in there. But then we see Tyler come in and say, "Hey, is Keya in here?" So the editing to me felt like they were trying to like pin these women against each other. And so I was not sure if Keya was using the fact that she knew Tyler was being very emotional about the experience to say, I need to go in here and be super soft with Kevan and let him know, like, you don't need you don't need to force a decision. I don't need to hear that I'm your number one. Take your time. I wasn't sure if that was happening or she was just naturally coming in like that. And Kevan again was using his pod experience to say, "Oh my God, I'm up and down," and she's responding to that. I was like, "What is happening here?" Because did she see the gift or no? Why would she see that gift, then go into her date, and then be like, "Oh, we're boyfriend and girlfriend"? You know what I'm saying? The timing of it didn't feel right to me.
Yeah, it might have been just all kinds of chopped and screwed for sure. The producers are good for that. I didn't really think showing the gift was that bad because like she walked in with the gift and the folks asked about it. So it's like, Tyler, you're in here. It's just I'm not trying to do anything. People asked about the gift and I'm walking in with a gift. So I didn't think anything about that. But I do think Keya knew. I do think she knew. Like when you know that if you're interested in a guy, and I feel like if you know you're the second, like you're possibly someone who's maybe got his eye, you ain't got nowhere to go but up. You ain't the wife. You ain't got nowhere to go but up. So you could be calm. You could be like, oh,
you do all the things that he looking for in a wife.
And you ain't no pressure because you know your position is precarious anyway. So it's like you could, no. Like you can explore who's making you feel bad for exploring. Now I don't think that she's personally doing that intentionally, but I think she knew everything that was happening. And I think that Tyler was so in her thoughts about it, in her head about like, this is our reality, me and him together. We got matching husband, wife, she was in that reality and not picking up on the fact that there was someone else in the space. And I think Keya was well aware. And so but I agree with Kia's approach, her understanding and how she approached it all, because it's like if he vibes with you, he vibes with you. If he vibes with her, he vibes with her. It may be a slow burn. It may not be. I don't know. But the one thing that for me was a little odd was her switch up on homeboy at the end. Now, this could be editing as well, but I was like, Keya, like, did you orchestrate this like whole setup? Because you knew homegirl was really feeling him. So if you were not, when she cried and left, it's like, did you not want to be like, I bow out? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not feeling him like that. It felt, something about it felt a little odd and maybe calculated. I don't know. I give her the benefit of the doubt because it's Netflix and who knows how they edited it. But it's just like, why weren't you a little bit more transparent with Kevan a little before he starts to being ready to propose? Because it looked like that's what he's about to do. Looked like he was about to propose. And so how did you not express that, hey, I'm not quite there yet, like that's not where I am, I'm kind of still exploring you, yada yada yada? It feels like a little bit more transparency on her part could have happened.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been the women in the women's quarters telling her what was happening, especially after Tyler had such an emotional exit. It was like, yeah, I think that's kind of what happened.
Convinced her
because it seemed like she was into him up until that point, and I feel like maybe it's just like when you see all this back and forth going on, she leaving, now she coming back, she leaving, now she coming in with all these emotions. I would think I would have to start questioning what is happening in their experience. What are you giving her as a man? Because at the end of the day, granted, I'm not saying that Tyler does not have responsibility for how she was reacting, but it's like something is happening. What is happening? I can't put it all on Tyler, Yeah. And because there was so much back and forth, and he also was indecisive even to Keya, you know what I'm saying? He kept, I think he said something like, I have to make the best decision for everybody, and she kind of turned up at that,
that was weird.
It's not your responsibility to do that. So I feel like over time she had enough information to just be like, but you're not my husband.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you on the first piece about like it could have been just so much happening that it was like, yeah, actually, no, I'm not doing this. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess I could see that point. So I'll leave that there. Yeah, so is there anything else that we haven't discussed about the Kevan, Tyler, Keya saga?
Yeah, I think the only thing I forgot to mention was there was a large career gap with Kevin and both Tyler and Keya. They both were seemingly well into their career, and he had said he was just figuring it out. And I
Yeah.
think that bled into some of the insecurities he was having, because it was like, I don't want to force Tyler to make this decision to leave his career. And then with Keya, he was kind of focusing on like, well, I don't have this, I don't have that.
Yeah.
And so I think there was some intimidation going on for both of the ladies with him.
Yeah.
So
I think
yeah,
he was looking
child.
for somebody to like tell him that's okay, and pacify him in that area too. And it's not, I'm not all about the money. And I don't even think Tyler was. Tyler was sitting there like, it's okay, it's okay. She was reaffirming him. But yeah, look, what's supposed to happen is gonna happen. And that's why, even like we say, they're not a match, and we may not, folks may not agree with how they became to be apart, how they became not a match. But it's like the
Mm-hmm.
universe will get you there. Hook or hook, come crook. Like what Papa
It's
Poke
gonna
say, come
protect you.
hell or high water, it's gonna
Yes.
move into what's good, what it's gonna be. And so it didn't have to happen this way. It could have happened with her calmly saying, it's not for me. Or it could have happened when they could have joined, and then she could have saw it throughout the process, and they could have said no on decision day. But whatever the case may be, if it's not a match, it's not going to be a match, and it's not going to vibe. And so I think what needed to happen, like you said in the beginning, what needed to happen in this situation happened. But it did feel like, oh my God, we went through all of this, and
Yeah.
no couple comes from this, no black love couple to watch. Damn. So,
It
because I
wouldn't have
think
been
that,
black love, babes.
but no, I think that the reason why I'm a little bit on Tyler and Kevin, though, a little bit, is that Tyler and Kevin both had growth to do in opposite directions. And maybe they could
Yeah.
have grown and matched. But I will say this also, I forgot to mention this. He needs to go to the barber. I don't understand how he came on national television without the barber lineup, or at least cut it close. Like even the beard was
Yeah.
doing a lot. Like, and that's fine. I'm not trying to like talk about the man, but I'm just trying to say that he could have done that. I don't
Yeah, he's a little
know,
scruffy. He's a little scruffy.
yeah, he could have
Yeah.
done
A little
that.
rough around the
Just
edges.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I have brothers, so I know they don't always do what they need to do, but until they know when it's time to
Yeah.
step up. But I'm like, national television might have been the time.
The perfect time. The perfect time, actually.
So
I wanted to
yeah.
go back to you saying, Tyler was saying the money doesn't matter. And I'm not saying that anybody needs to buy, but this is my personal opinion. But I feel like 110% money does matter, especially for us Black women who are outperforming every single demographic out here. You know what I'm saying? Education, you know what I'm saying? We coming up in the tunnel, like we coming up. So I need people to be a little bit more equally yoked. And I feel like one thing that we have historically struggled with is the opportunities to be able to marry well, because of all the systematic oppression that we are constantly in the face of. So absolutely, I think Black women deserve Black men who out here making money, and the Black men just got to we got to find ways
Get it
to increase
together.
our capital. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not with that. It's okay, because one day it's gonna matter. It's gonna
This
matter.
The only thing I will say on that point is that the landscape that we're dealing with, like I went to law school, and when I tell you it was like 10-1 Black women versus Black men, it's that. And that's not just law school, that's medical schools, that's all these things. And so the reality is like, yes, we would all love to have doctor husbands, lawyer husbands, whatever, but the reality is numbers are just not there, and that's not all on Black men. Some of it is, but some of it is just like, there's the school to prison pipeline is a thing for a reason. Like, some of these men have been funneled at very young ages into disciplinary tracks and things like that because of historical racism and bias. So I say all that to say that the reality of it is that we may want all of that, and I think we deserve all of that, and I am out here looking for all of that, but I also have a very high regard for having a good man, and so that's reigns supreme. But it's like, if I could find a good man who got a good paycheck too, I'm here for all of that, and I think
Yeah.
that we all deserve that. But I also think that the reality Is that, or you can maybe if you want to go to another race, you might be able to find a little, more. But the reality is, it's just not
Yeah.
always there. So I think we should prioritize finding a good man, and then also
Mhm.
making sure that he is handling his business, because I can't be with no broke man who is not handling his business. Like, I need you to be handling your business. But if you're making consistent income and you're always striving, you're trying to do your best and you're trying to self actualize as a person, I can rock with that, even if you're not
But
having
that's the
like
point.
the
You got to be willing to self-actualize and get there.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
like with Kevan, for instance, right? It's like you weren't coming to Tyler with a plan. If she
Mhm.
decides to do this, you were meeting her with fear. And so
Yeah,
that's what I mean by like the gap. It's like you
girl.
got to be able, you may not be there. I might have the higher degree, but do you have a vision? Can I be that backbone? You know, they say behind every good man is a good woman. Can I be that backbone to help you get to where you want to go? But I need to know where that is if I decide to
No,
partner
I
with
agree.
you and
I
maybe there
completely
is a
agree.
large, income gap or whatever, education gap. We need to find some ways to fill the gap. I need that to be a desire for you. And for sometimes we are faced with the fact that because I've dealt with it. It don't be a desire. It don't be a desire. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it for them. Do you have any other thoughts on this Tyler, Keya, Kevan situation? All right, y'all. So this is part 1 for Love is Blind, season 10, episodes 1 through 6. Make sure you hit that follow button and that subscribe button and hype us up. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What did we forget? A lot of y'all be out here on the social media streets. Let us know what we missed, what's going on, if we didn't talk about it, with the things that we did discuss. And we will catch you for part 2.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.